Hello, and welcome to Community Social Justice Atlanta. I'm your host for tonight, Minister Eva McMillan, and we're so glad that you tuned in. If you would go ahead and share this on your platform. We have an exciting guest tonight. We have Commissioner Larry Johnson, who is running for candidate for CEO of the Greater Dekalb County. And tonight we're going to get into a conversation to talk with him. But go ahead and share this. Share it with many of your family members. Call them up, especially if they live in DeKalb County, and let them know that we're going to be talking to the candidate tonight. Share it on your platform. Go ahead, share it to YouTube, share it to Facebook, but whatever you do, get engaged in this conversation because we need to know what is going on in DeKalb County for the next several years. And so tonight we have Commissioner Larry Johnson, and we're so glad that he took the time out of his busy schedule to come and visit with us and to talk to us tonight. We're just so excited, and we've missed you. We've missed you. We've missed being here. We took off a little time, but we're back now, and we're geared up to bring you more information. You know how we do. We bring you information that is important to our community. We bring you information that is affecting you, your family, and the community. Things that are going on within our state, in our communities that affect our school system, our children, the law enforcement, our government. Whatever it is that is going on, it is our responsibility. Our mission is to bring you information so that you can make the right decision when it comes to time to vote, when it comes to where to spend your money, for you to make the decisions that are needed so that your future and that your family's future will be bright. If we don't do anything, we need to be concerned about not only ourselves, but the generations to come. So tonight, go ahead and share this. We're going to be talking to Larry Johnson. We're going to be asking him some questions about why he's running for CEO as a candidate for CEO of DeKalb County. We're going to be talking about some exciting things that he has planned if he wins. Now, you have the deciding vote to whether you place him in office or not, but we wanted to bring him to you so that you could get a chance to meet the candidate, not as the commissioner, but as the next CEO of the great DeKalb County. So if you're in DeKalb County, call up someone, tell them to sign on so that they can get a chance to hear him tonight. And if you want to ask a question, put the question in the chat. We'll try to get the answer for you. If not, we'll leave it there, and maybe somebody will reach out to you. Leave your number, leave a way to contact you, and we would definitely try to get your answer to your question. But tonight, I just want to say we're going to have a great conversation. We're just coming right off of celebrating MLK, and I thought this was an appropriate time to bring in an African-American who is doing something in the community. One of the things that Dr. King stood for was justice and economic justice for everyone. And so we're thankful for what Commissioner Larry Johnson has done in District 3, but now we want to challenge him to go even farther as a CEO of DeKalb County. So again, share this and let's get ready to have a conversation. If you would, help me to greet and welcome Commissioner Larry Johnson.
Hey, how are you?
How you doing? It's good to see you.
Best day of my life, and just good to be with you. And Happy New Year to you and this great audience. I'm glad to be talking to you and helping us continue to make a difference.
Great. Thank you for taking time out because I know you're on the campaign trail, but we're going to get right into this conversation. Now, our audience is familiar with you as the commissioner of District 3.
Right.
But you are now running for CEO of the Greater DeKalb County. And so we want to talk to you about your platform, what it is that you anticipate doing once you are successful in becoming the CEO. And so I had several people to send me some questions. But we're just going to have an organic conversation. You know how we do here.
Yes.
So tell me, for those that don't know, because outside of District 3, there may be some people who really don't know who Larry Johnson is. So who is Larry Johnson?
Oh, wow. Great question. He's the product of two teenage parents. Uh, he born and raised in Chicago, Inglewood area. Had to get through the crack epidemic, the gangs, and the first one to go to college in his family went to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. Then
Wow.
University of Northern Colorado, got my master's in public health. And then I moved to Atlanta because my wife, I said, you pick the next location. And he got accepted into the Emory Law School, and we landed in DeKalb County. DeKalb County has welcomed us. It has embraced us. It has nurtured us. It has built on my talents, abilities, and gifts. It's given me an opportunity. And so one of the ways I wanted to give back is through public service. And that's why I'm now moving from our DeKalb County Commission seat to aspiring to be your next CEO of DeKalb County. And so that's who Larry Johnson is. You're going to get a person who wants to connect the unconnected and serve the underserved and just bring people together from Linwood to Glenwood to Stone Mountain to Stonecrest to Decatur to Dorville and from North Central and South DeKalb. And we're
Mm.
going to focus on public health, prevention, public safety, and just work with our youth to create opportunities in our community. And so that's a little bit about who I am as a person.
Well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but in case we go in and out, just bear with us and we will continue the conversation. So you kind of alluded to what my next question was going to be, because what I looked up was, what is the responsibility of the CEO? And I found this within the ordinance that was written, and it says the chief executive shall represent the county in intergovernmental matters and shall seek to promote and improve the government of the county and encourage the growth of the county and promote and develop the prosperity and well-being of the citizens of the county. And
Right.
so one of the questions that was put to me is that from the time I've been here since 1974, and
Wow.
I have always heard of the great divide between North DeKalb and South DeKalb.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about, is that a myth? And once you become CEO, how would you bridge to make sure that it is one county, not separate by North and South, but one county, we all prospering together? What would you do?
I think one of the things that I would do is that you always going to have opinions out there in terms of what may be missed and may not be missed. But just being in office over the last 20 years, we've bridged that gap between North and South. And when people say North and South, they focus a lot on the economic development on one part of the county versus the other.
Mhm.
And then you can see it is very visible. But it always was driven by the interests and investments of private developers.
Mhm.
What we have to do to make sure in South DeKalb is that we use the incentives that's been used from times gone past. And what you're going to get in me as a CEO, I'm going to go out there and get those corporations and bring them to the South and let them know that we have Wadsworth Elementary School, one of the top elementary schools in the state of Georgia. We have the School of the Arts. It's in Central and South DeKalb. It's a little bit in both. So education is one of the things that we prioritize ourselves. And then we also have great places of worship. We also have a strong middle class that wants to see services and have the amenities like any other place. And so I will be that cheerleader, that ambassador that will go out there and really, really speak up and making sure that we can keep us working together as unified. That doesn't mean as the CEO that I would just say this we stay south on everything, but I want to look at the assets like I said earlier. I got to look from Dunwoody to Decatur
Mhm.
to South DeKalb and making sure they understand that we are one DeKalb. And one of the ways that we've done it with our CEO Michael Thurman, which was a great guy, great CEO. We had the Splosh initiative, the Special Purpose
Mhm.
Local Option Sales Tax. We worked with all of the cities from north, central, and south and came together. And guess what? Over 70% of people voted for infrastructure improvement and property tax relief. So that means over the next 6 years, $1 billion in property tax relief will be given to unincorporated citizens and also citizens of these cities. And you're also going to get infrastructure improvements. So the county worked with the cities, north, central, and south, and we were unified. We had one common mission, one common vision, which is to build the infrastructure of DeKalb County. And guess what? Building that infrastructure allows us to build the economic development in South DeKalb. And I tell people we were on a good road in South DeKalb. I remind people we had the Great Recession. That recession lasts from 2007 until 2017. That means things were done already in the south, in the north, but we were about to get cranked up in the south. But the economic wave, the tsunami that hit, it halted everything. And so, like anything who was trying to revitalize and build a foundation, we suffered the most because we were just getting ready to build those businesses in. And so I will be a champion for that, because you can't have a great DeKalb if some of the parts of the county are lagging. And so my job is, I'm an asset builder. I build on the talents, ability, the gifts, no matter where you are. And I want to make that grow and do the right things for all of DeKalb. But I want to make sure our underserved areas are looked at, and I'll be a champion for them.
When you talked about the fund that was funded by the 1% taxation that everyone agreed upon, but the disbursement of that, is that tied to the population of where within the cities that are located within the counties?
Yes.
And if that's so, then where are the majority of the people?
Well, the majority of the people, remember, for unincorporated DeKalb is in South DeKalb. Okay. So we received majority of the infrastructure dollars just for District 3 in this last one that just passed. And I just got numbers for just up to like 2021. Out of the $340 million that were spent, District 3 got about $150 million of that. And I didn't count District 5. So you add that in, we probably got close to 200 million of the 340 million because of our population and where we are. Unincorporated will get the bulk of the funding for that. And the cities will have their own funding. That's what you agree on in the agreement to make those things happen. So it's based on your population, and you get that your percentage is based on your population.
Okay. Now I did notice that in 2023 that the budget for DeKalb County was like 1.8, almost 1.8 billion.
Yes.
And so with the increasing inflation, once you take office, and we're just going to say it, once you take office, that budget then would have to basically increase. And so how would we actually be funding that budget?
Well, you fund it through your property taxes and fees and special fees, and the budget has to be balanced. And so you can't have like you see with the United States, they can run a deficit and still be running the government. We can't run a deficit. So we just got to do just like any old household. You got to live within your means. You got to make sure you allocate for the things that are really, really needed. The necessities, which is public safety, public works, sanitation, the basic things that government is in charge of, public health, mental health. Those are the things that's essential to the livelihood of this county. And I'll be with that CEO that makes sure that we come out there and connect with you to make sure that we have your priorities as our priorities to move this county forward. And so I will make sure of that as we go forward, and we will look at that together as a community.
So if you had to decide between the three major priorities, what would the three major, coming right out of the bat, what would the three major priorities be for you?
Oh, wow. 3 would be probably public safety, because people have to feel safe. They have to feel secure. because you can have all the restaurants and stores you want, but people don't feel safe going there, or people don't feel safe going to work. We don't have the type of lifestyle environment we need. The other part would be just economic development. Let's continue to press and press and press to let people know that DeKalb County is a county that wants you to succeed in business. I mean, we have some of the major universities from Emory, Oglethorpe, Georgia State University is right here in South DeKalb, a level 1 research institution, Georgia Piedmont, Agnes Scott, Mercer University. We have some of the most major universities. Then on top of that, we have some of the major highways that come through DeKalb County. Half of 285 is in DeKalb County. I-20, 75, 675. So we are really positioned to be the epicenter for economic development. You just got to continue to champion that to make that happen. Then the last P will be, for me, I would think as a priority, would be focusing on public health, mental health, working with our young people to create opportunities so they can use their life skills to make quality decisions, because your health is your wealth. And so for sidewalks, trails, making sure those things are available for people to use in our community. And guess what that does to your mental health? Having those outlets. And so those will be some of the priorities. Of course, I have many more, but those will be the top 3 that I would focus on to try to make sure that we're moving in the right direction.
Well, it sounds like you have it laid out already, and I'm quite sure that that you do a great job in that.
Thank you.
Want to talk about. So, what do you feel like? I know you've been a commissioner. How many years were you a commissioner?
22 years.
22 years for commissioner, and I know just a little bit about that. The responsibility of the CEO basically kind of oversees, if I'm correct, and the here's a CEO, commissioners are under here.
Right, we're equal. It's just like you look at your United States government. You have the president, the legislative, and the judiciary branch, Supreme Court. That's how the government is ran in DeKalb. The chief executive officer runs the day-to-day operations. It's a unique form in terms of, we call it CEO, but it'd be just like a mayor, like Atlanta mayor, where he's a strong chief executive. And then the legislative branch, which is the county commissioners. That's who makes the laws and bring them forward. And the CEO signs those laws. And if people want to challenge those laws, they go to court. So that's basically how 3 levels, co-equal branches of government.
Okay. Do you have the power to veto
Yes.
what they do? Okay.
Oh yeah. You'll be just like it's like the president of the United States. You have the power to veto, and the legislative branch has the power to override the veto.
Okay.
And then if they both don't agree, you can go to the courts, and the courts can be the final arbiter or send it back to you. And so that's how the government is functioning. We function under the Organizational Act. I call it the Constitution of DeKalb, and it lays out all the roles and responsibility of each branch of government. And so it's very clear in there. And I'm glad that you looked up those responsibilities and read them, because a lot of people don't understand it. And so that's good for people to be educated, because you'll learn that the Board of Commissioners, we don't oversee the day-to-day operations. That means we can't tell sanitation, public works, where to go, how to do it. Those things have to go through our chief executive officer.
So now the buck stops with you.
Yes, that's right. That's right. It will stop with me. And it's opportunity for me. It gives me opportunity because I've been on the ground. Not only, before I became a county commissioner, I was working in the community already. And so a lot of the things that I was able to get done is because I stayed connected to the people in the community. I will stay connected to you, Eva. I won't leave you. I will always come on the show to make sure people know and answer questions, to field questions, because I really, really want the people to be about we the people. I want them to understand that we have to work together. One person can't solve these problems. It takes I'm a collaborative leader. I believe in working together.
So you mentioned that enterprise, trying to get enterprise into South DeKalb. And so one of the things that people, generally talk about is healthy food and not having access to healthy food. And how can we, or how can you or the commissioners work together to actually help bring some of that in? And do we as individuals have any say so in helping that to come to fruition?
Yeah, it's a great question. Great question. We have the economic development arm of the CAB is independent. It's called the Decide the CAB. They're charged with recruiting, retaining businesses, and so we work through them to make sure that we can have the goals and objectives that DeKalb County is working. So I will work directly with them and with the citizens, because in order for us to get the businesses we need and want, you got to be intricately involved. You got to
Mhm.
help me. You got to say, okay, Larry, these are things we're looking at. I'm gonna say to you, I'm gonna say, okay, here's the addresses. Let's work together. I'm gonna work on my end. You work on your end, and to see how we can. I'll invite those businesses in to come into our areas and want you to be part of that. And we will show that business. Here's the things that we have. Here's the medium income. Here's the trails. Here's the bikes. Here's the educational levels of our community. Here's the house. Here's some of the subdivisions we have that are doing great. And this will complement. This business will complement all of these assets that we have. So I will be the ambassador and that cheerleader, but we work through our Decide the CAB because that's the economic development arm. Their job, they're charged with bringing business, recruiting business, and retaining businesses. And so I would just help to educate folks, but I also be on the front line, helping them, helping us to recruit businesses in our community.
Now, is there a collaboration between the, I think we have a newly, I don't know how old it is, but the Chamber of Commerce for DeKalb?
Right, right. Yeah, it was always a collaboration. You want to work closely with your chamber. I was there today. They have a new president. I think he's been there 2 years, Mr. Frankie Adwater, and he's done some changes to make sure that it is networking, is moving out to the community. When you're dealing with business and economic development, you got to bring all the key stakeholders to the table. That's the chamber. That's the Decide the Cab. That's Georgia Power. That's Atlanta Gas Light. That's working with other business owners who talk the language of the businesses that we're trying to reach out. And so I would just it'll be a team approach to bringing those team together to make sure that we can be aggressive and bring those businesses to South DeKalb, Central DeKalb, and into areas that are underserved.
What can the faith community do to
Well,
help?
the faith community can do a lot because a lot of the business owners, a lot of the people who are in that sphere go to those churches and in those faith areas. And so it'd be for me to connect with that pastor. I say, Pastor, when we're in this area and we're trying to recruit this business, who do you have in your church who is connected to grocery stores? For instance, I want to make DeKalb County like the Silicon Valley of the Southeast. I want to get some of those data centers. I want to bring some of those computer companies in so we can create some of those jobs because our young people can go straight to work. It doesn't require to have a 4-year degree, but they make a great livable wage, a great salary. So my job is to tap into those. And I have a lot of those contacts already. So you won't get someone on day one who doesn't understand a lot of our faith community in churches and shows and synagogues and mass sheds. I will have those connections already. And it's just a matter of seeing how do we go about building that team to go get it.
What, who are some of the people who have endorsed you already?
Oh, wow. Some of the people who endorsed me are some awesome people. I just put out one today, former Councilwoman Pam Talmadge of
Mm,
the city of Dunwoody. She has endorsed me. Reverend Cynthia Hale, great pastor, Ray of Hope Church. Former Mayor Shirley Franklin has endorsed me. Pastor William Flippin,
mm,
Pastor Lee May. We've had citizens like Jim Radovian, former school board member from the Dunwoody area in North DeKalb, has wholeheartedly endorsed our campaign. We've had folks from South DeKalb, John Evans, a civil
mm.
rights leader of our time, has endorsed me as well. We got folks just all over in our communities from North, Central, South, Southwest. Dekalb has endorsed the vision and what we're doing from our Korean community, our Greek community. We have seen folks from all over who said, we want to continue what you've done in District 3. It's about results you can see. And we know you're going to be hands-on and you care about the people and you're going to make a difference. And so I embrace that. I thank God for giving me these gifts that I can use, that I can give back. And I get to use my degree, having a public health degree in the time of dealing with COVID, dealing with West Nile virus, H1N1 and AIDS, and violence prevention and violence and stuff. All of those are public health topics that I'm well versed in. And so you have someone who, and they feel like they need someone at this time because any major catastrophe that happens that deals in that realm, they'll have somebody in that office who doesn't have to go to a textbook or something like that. He knows who to bring in to make sure that we can mitigate that disaster from overcoming the people in our great county of DeKalb.
Yeah, we've seen what happens when a person is not prepared to deal with a disaster.
Right.
Again, this is Community Social Justice Atlanta. We're talking with candidate for DeKalb County CEO position, Commissioner Larry Johnson. He is running for DeKalb County CEO, and we're talking about his platform. What can he bring to DeKalb County? Again, if you're just tuning in, go ahead and share this information. Put it out there, call up someone, let them sign on to Facebook or YouTube to watch us so that you can hear what this young man has to say of why he's running for DeKalb County, for the great state, the great DeKalb County. And so I want to just continue that conversation right now with him. One of the things that you said that, bringing in the diversity within the community. And what I've done is in going around, because I live in DeKalb County, and I looked at different businesses and I see your name in the windows.
Right.
From the, the Black-owned businesses to the Korean-owned businesses, all of them, I see your name, which means to me is that there is a diversity of voters who connect with you. And from what you just said about how to be able to tap into keeping involved within what citizens want to hear and what citizens need. And so that is really, really great.
And let me add to that, because if you look at one of John Lewis' speeches when he talked about the same house, that we all have to be in the same house no matter where you are culturally. I've tried to live my life where we can practice being multicultural and connecting with different people of different races, creeds, and making sure that we can make things happen in our community. And so that's the type of CEO you're going to get. I mean, when I did my last turkey drive, we teamed up with the hip hop community. I had the Korean community. I had young people. I had everybody in between, the NAACP. I had Grady. I mean, if I can show you the pictures, we had everybody, every generation, every race, every color, everybody was there. And that's what DeKalb County looks like. And that's what I want to continue to be, that bridge builder. It's called, the K-Swahili word is called Maji. It's called Bridge Over Troubled Waters. I want to be that bridge that can bridge the cultural divide. And I've demonstrated that by through the programs and through connecting with different people. I just won a Good People Award from the Korean community for the inaugural award I just won 3 weeks ago, because they said I'm one of those people that can bring people together in our community. So that's the type of CEO you're going to get, a bridge builder, someone who wants to build capacity, because I see that in everybody. And that's what we're going to continue to do together.
One of the questions that came from a viewer was, how do you work with other counties? Do you get involved with other counties?
Well, just the part of my journey has been, I had a chance to be president of the National Association of Counties. And so that's called NACO for short. I represented over 3,000 counties across the nation, 300 million Americans. And so one of the initiatives that I worked on was getting the American Rescue Plan, which is ARP for short, $65 billion to our counties. 140 million came to Dekalb to focus on rent, food, help with infrastructure. And so I will continue that at the local level. I've been endorsed by Lisa Cupid from Cobb County. I've been endorsed by Carlotta Harrell from Henry County. And so I'll join as the CEO of Dekalb. I've become part of the Atlanta Regional Commission. This is made of the 12 or 15 counties, surrounding counties. And then we make decisions around infrastructure, mental health, and senior services. And so I will continue to work with that way because we abut Henry, we abut Fulton, we abut Rockdale, Gwinnett. And so you cannot live in a bubble. You have to be able to collaborate with these different entities to make sure that transportation and housing, all those things are on the front burner, because remember, these lines are lines that we create, but people don't see lines. When they need help, when they're trying to get to work, they're trying to get to work. And so we got to make sure that we're collaborating across counties as well. And I'm demonstrated that by representing all the counties in the country. And I demonstrated that locally by working with many counties through our boot camp. We do a HOA boot camp. So I get a chance, and we basically bring in all the HOAs to talk about rules, regulations, the do's and don'ts. How can you enhance your community? And I work with Fayette County, Cobb County, Fulton County, Clayton County, Rockdale, and it's become a regional event. And we just did one in September. So you have someone who has experience of working with other counties as well. And last but not least, I sit on the Association of County Commission for the state of Georgia, and I was on the housing task force, and I was part of I helped set the direction for all the counties in the state.
We have a question that came from a viewer that wanted to know, what can DeKalb County do to help poor working individuals and the homeless population?
What can they do is a number of things. One is to help the poor. The goal is to increase their skills. We have a department called WorkSource Dekalb. They have certifications that you can get for free. They have trainings that they can do to prepare you for jobs that are coming in the 21st century. They have grant opportunities that can pay to help pay for schools to make that happen, because that's the one of the ways to alleviate yourself out of that situation is to gain more education and skills, to become a welder. They make close to $25 an hour. Georgia Piedmont has a program to become a early learning education teacher. You can get your certification free. You have a program called the Hope Grant, which you get up to 90 credit hours free that you can use to go to any college or junior college in the state of Georgia. We got to make sure that people are educated and know about these programs and make those things happen. I think that's the first set. The other part is just making sure that we have job fairs, have them available. That's another part of working with these business owners. What do you have and what skills are you looking for? My job is to feed and connect those with our work source and get those folks who are poor, who want to work, who want to do some extra things, help them get those skill sets, and also got to help them get health care. How do I plug them into Grady, plug them into Medicaid to make sure that they can have the proper health care that they can use? Right now, I use Southside. That's right here in DeKalb. That's a federally FQHC, Federally Qualified Health Center. They work on a sliding fee scale. But my doctor, I've been having my doctor 25 years. And so those are some of the things. The second part of that is the homeless. We're going to have to build more housing. And we have a program through what we call I will call our community development department that handles all of our housing for us, for the homeless. And right now, we put our homeless folks up in hotels until we can find them a permanent place to be. And I will continue that, because you got to be stable, and you got to have a stable home, to have a stable income, to have a stable job. And so we'll work with those programs with our homeless to make sure that we house them, but then we got to find permanent housing because
Yes.
that's going to be the key.
One of the things that I noticed over the last couple of years is that many of our homes have been bought out by investors. And those investors are turning them into, making a pretty good profit off of them, because especially with our elderly population who maybe can't afford the property tax, or, or for some reason or another, they lost the home and the investor came in. Is there anything that you or the commissioners, or any referendum or thing that can be put together so that our communities won't be bought out by outside investors, but we can continue to be invested into our community with housing?
Our strongest piece as a county is to make sure we're doing education and awareness. The state of Georgia, that's a federal and state issue in terms of have to set up regulations that deals with these type of investors who try to come in and buy and create for rent subdivisions. Those things are regulated at the state and the federal level. But what I can do at my level is I had a program a couple years ago called Don't Get Tricked. And I brought out Atlanta Legal Aid. I brought out Affordable Housing Associations. I brought out key people who can talk to our senior population to make sure that they are aware of the scams and making sure that they have the proper will and things in place to pass on the generational wealth. I will work and be a bulldog to make sure that we have these programs, and I will make sure that we alert folks. And I will go and I'll knock and I'll talk to some of these folks that we find out who are investing and say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? We want to make sure our neighborhoods are intact and strong, because you may have they may have people that need to rent, because you look at the places now in terms of mortgages, and trying to buy a house now is almost impossible. And so you look at the flip side of it, a lot of folks just can't afford it.
Right.
And so the interest rates are high. And a lot of people who will be moving to their second home won't move because the interest rates were so low for the first one. You normally move up. You go from single family to multifamily. But right now, people are not moving. So that keeps the young people who normally would get their first house, they can't move because the interest rate. So it's a whole lot of things that's working in the housing sphere that has to do with the markets, the banks, interest rates that impacting this investor things that are going on. But I will be a bulldog and be diligent on awareness and education to let people know what is going on in our community and how we can work with those from Atlanta Legal Aid to different housing groups out there to educate and to make sure that people don't get tricked.
One of the platforms that I saw you on last year, I believe it was last year or maybe 18 months ago, was that you were at the White House.
Right.
And so do you feel that your national involvement brings anything to the table as CEO?
Oh, yes. You can't be a CEO and just stay in the box. You got to have national and state connections in order for you to bring the resources to your county. Economics, parks, trails, transportation, housing. If you don't have that experience at the national level, like I have, it's hard to get stuff done. I don't have to go through a lot of people to make a phone call to get connected to our president, our vice president, our secretary of transportation. I know who to call to get those folks on the phone to make things happen in our community. And I've done it in the past, and I'll continue to do that. And that's very crucial. Then you got to have contacts on the state level. I've been endorsed by Senator Emanuel Jones, State Representative Billy Mitchell, Doreen Carter, Gloria Butler, who's the minority leader. And so those entities allows me the entree to be the voice for DeKalb County citizens, and to make sure that our voices are heard, and to make sure the things that we need are getting the proper attention to. And so having a CEO like myself who has the national, state, and local experience will bode well for us, because it allows that experience to get in there and don't have to eat Wonder Bread like my grandmother said. Wonder what's going on. I know who to call. I know who to connect to get the results that we can see.
So, not to put you on the spot, but what do you feel is the one thing that sets you apart from the other candidates?
I would just say for me, it'll be experience.
Okay.
It'll be the grassroots. I came from the grassroots. I worked my way up, and we've seen it in the district because I'm a collaborative leader. We've seen the results. I just didn't, come in and just sit there. You've seen the Michelle Obama Trail. You've
Mm-hmm.
seen us with the Porter Sanford Performing Arts Center. You've seen the Intergenerational Center. You've seen the sidewalks come in areas that didn't have sidewalks. Those are things that people can physically see, and that we continue that legacy as we move forward. So experience, above all, allows me to be in a position to continue to get greater results, because I'll be in a position, a different position that requires us to have results even faster, because people are yielding those things and want those things to happen.
So the things that you just named, such as the walking trails and the Porter Sanford, these are some venues and entities that you had hands-on
Right.
in involvement in bringing them to fruition for
That's right.
DeKalb County.
That's right.
Um, are there any others that we're not aware of, or that the citizens of DeKalb County outside of District 3 not aware of, that you can make us aware of, so that we can say, oh, that's what he did or was
Right.
involved?
Well, I think some of the things around litter patrol posse, if you ever
Mhm.
see those orange bags that you see in the communities a lot, we had no litter patrol posse. I was the one who brought that idea forward and got it passed to create a crew. And because we had nobody picking up litter, now that crew has grown. It's under the sanitation department. Now it's part of Keep the Cab Beautiful.
Mhm.
Those entities were not even a part of where we're going. I had a hand in updating our property maintenance code, because our code was like 20 years behind. And we were allowing 20-inch high grass, because remember, South DeKalb was a rural place. It wasn't
Mhm.
always urban. And so a lot of the things that we had to retrofit in, from sidewalks to dealing with property maintenance code, from the nuisance ordinance, from the curfew, that we
Mhm.
now have a countywide curfew. We didn't have it at first, but I instituted and pushed forward and brought forth the curfew for us in DeKalb. And we set that forward. So those things impacted the whole DeKalb County as we move forward. On a note, before I became a commissioner, I was helped lead the pedestrian safety movement. Would you see that little sign in the middle of the crosswalk? I was one of the lead advocates to give pedestrians the right of way and crosswalk, working
Mhm.
with our state representative Mobley and June Heckstrom at the state capitals in the 90s, working with John Evans. And so before I even got in there, you see that, and I always see that little thing in the middle. Now pedestrian rights are one of the biggest things people talk about now, sidewalks,
Yeah.
those type of things. So those are some of the things that has impacted us countywide, that I had a hand in really pushing and initiating those type of public policies that improved our quality of life.
For those that have just tuned in, we're talking to Commissioner Larry Johnson, who is now the candidate for CEO of DeKalb County. I'm going to ask him this question. I know he talked about it earlier, but what really influenced you to go into public service?
Oh, wow. It's because of how I was raised and how I came up. We didn't have a lot of mentors, a lot of folks around. I grew up in the poverty-stricken environment, but I had a lot of love and people around me. I had great teachers who saw something in me, who let me go to enrichment programs, had me go to summer programs, that I know if I wouldn't have went to those programs, I wouldn't have no inkling of college, no inkling, because I was, nobody was talking about that in my neighborhood around me. And so having those type of entities, and then I had a chance to coach Little League Baseball, 18 years old. And I call them the future, they would call the future game bangers of America, because people gave these little little people no hope. But me being a baseball coach and marching them up to the parks at 7:30 in the morning, I mean, I had some of the greatest young people around, and I had them do essays on sportsmanship. I had them going out there collecting money to buy their uniforms. Uniforms are like $28. That was a lot of money for
Yeah,
these
back then.
young people.
Mhm.
And so now I still keep in contact with a few of them today. That led me to can I be a person to help? And then I just bumped into politics because I was fighting for sidewalks in South DeKalb, especially on Candler Road, and they wasn't putting sidewalks in our community. Who did I have to go talk to, which was the county commission? They were trying to get a bus at the time to get the young people across the street at what an apartment called Misty Valley at the time. It's at Candler
Mhm.
and Kelly Lake. And the kids would have to cross the busy Candler Road. And in the wintertime it was still dark. So
Right.
we asked the school, we were fighting the school system to get them a bus to take them to school. So that what got my juices rolling about how can I do something bigger and better. And of course, I had my degree in public health. Public health is about tapping into the community so they can have a say in their own health care, and what policy they can do to enhance their wellness. And so it's just that a lot of good things collided at the same time. And I ran for office in 2000. It was like three other Johnsons in the race. So I came in fifth place. And so I went to go work for, at that time, Hank Johnson. So I
Mm.
became his policy aide. So I wouldn't, I didn't have to win. I wanted to help make sure South DeKalb and DeKalb was doing well. So I went to go work for him. And I learned a lot. And we did some great work. And then redistricting happened 2 years later. And then Lou Walker and Hank Johnson at the time said, man, we need some more young people to run. We need them to get in there. And I said, I'll try it this time again. I was just going to help. I didn't need to have a title to be elected to do something for the people. And guess what? I got into the runoff by 140 votes
Wow.
and won one precinct. And we would turn it around in 3 weeks and won 70%. And then in November of 2002, we got 92% of the vote. And we stayed on the ground. We knocked on doors and connected with people. And so from that time on, I knew what we needed to do. I knew how we needed to do it. I just had to build a collaboration. I had to work with the neighborhoods. I had to work with our agencies. I had to work with other entities in order to bring about positive change in our community. And that's what you'll get in me as your CEO, a collaborative leadership that will bring entities to the table and increase stakeholders' experience, our resident experience in the process.
Well, from the names that you have been talking about, for those of us that have been to DeKalb County for over 30 years, when you mentioned Lou Walker,
Yeah.
he was one of our people's people.
Oh yeah.
So
He was great.
you
I'm glad I
you
had a
were
chance to
you
be.
were
I
in good
learned
company.
something.
Yeah. Um, we had a comment from one of our viewers, and I know we talked about the three things that are priority to you, but of those three, if you only had one thing to achieve, and you had one thing to achieve as CEO, what would that one thing be? Your priority? What would that one thing be?
Oh, that's gonna be tough because all of the three that I name are interrelated. Your
Mm,
health is tied to public safety. Your health is tied to economic development. Development is tied to your health. Economic development is tied to public safety. Just those three alone, you can't. I'm
that's
one of
it.
those people you can't separate them because in public health, just by profession, you have to connect all the social determinants of health. That's transportation, housing, quality of life, water, environment. And so I can't really pick one out of the three because they all are interconnected together. You can't succeed at one and leave the other one behind. You got from my vision point, all of those are interconnected.
Connected.
So
It's
I'm,
like
I'm
it's like choosing between eating and drinking
Yeah,
water.
I'm a physics guy. Everything is interrelated. For every action,
Interrelated
there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you can't have one without having
without the
something
other.
on the other side, the atoms and the molecules that hold the atoms together. You have a positive and a negative. It has to work to bring both the atoms together. So that's how I kind of visualize working in the community and everything. Everything is interconnected.
Now we know you as Commissioner Larry Johnson, but we I don't know how many people know that your wife um, works alongside you with the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Um, she's known as Dr. T.
Right,
um, and I believe you have a daughter as well, correct?
right,
So
right, right. Yeah,
you
my
all
Dr. T has been with me. We've been together long before we got married in college. We started in student government together, and we have rode this wave together. And I appreciate her so much. I love her more than anything anybody you can imagine,
mm,
because she's the rock of our family. We've been together at least 34, 35 years. And she is the wind beneath my wings. She keeps us rolling. She keeps us on task. She keeps us going, and just a great person to be along. A personality, her tenacity and resilience is par excellence, and uh, we're just good friends,
that's
good
good.
best friends, and I can't. That's the only way I can describe it, as a husband and a good friend, somebody who cares about this community, who loves people, and she can check me when I need to be checked, and she understands how to move the ball and long. And so you need somebody like that. You don't need
Yeah.
somebody that's with you that agrees with you all the time, and is your way or no way. Is a partnership, and we've demonstrated that with our love for each other.
Well, we're coming to know her as she's on the campaign trip, and from what you're saying, we found her to be a genuine person. So
Thank you,
I
thank you.
don't know what they call the wife of the CEO. I don't know if they call him the first lady of Dekalb. I don't know,
I
but
don't even. I don't even. She's just gonna be Dr. T.
she's gonna be Dr. T.
That's right.
So we're looking forward to seeing her and you in the future as you continue to take that step. Again, this is Community Social Justice. We are also connected with Cross Culture 365
Oh
Ministries,
yes,
and
cross culture.
so we are collaborating together with them, making sure that we get the information out to our viewers, to the various people who watch, to our neighbors, to our sisters and our brothers. But for those of you that are in DeKalb County, he is Commissioner Larry Johnson. He is running for CEO of the DeKalb County, the greater DeKalb County. So if even after we complete this conversation, just reach out, go to his platform. How can
Info
they?
info at LJ number 4 CEO.com. Info at LJ number 4 CEO.com. And then you go to our website, is right there. LJ4CEO.com. LJ the number 4 CEO.com. And you get all our information, and see what's going on, because we are all in this together. I mean, I never been a person where you figure I have all the answers, or I have to lead by myself. You lead with a team. You lead because that's how God wants it, how we need to do it, to just really make things happen in our community. And it's like my grandmother told me, she said, all birds got to come down to eat. I didn't understand it at first, but now she said nobody ain't you can't be acting like you way above people, because we all on the same level. We have different needs, we have different abilities and gifts. How do you tap into those as a leader, to make sure that we're on the right track? Because
Yes,
DeKalb County is rising. Our
yes,
CEO Michael Thurman has said that, and I believe it. My job is to just build on top of that, to make things happen for our community. I'm a focus on innovation, focus on creativity, bringing our young people to the table. I'm going to be an intergenerational CEO. I'm bringing
mm,
our generations together, to make things happen in our community. Plus, I'll be the first generation Xer to be in this role.
And you're bringing a new energy to DeKalb County,
Oh
to
yeah,
the CEO office.
my mantra gonna be don't stop, get it, won't quit. We're gonna do it.
Well, I'm just gonna let you keep that mantra and keep on going. Okay, we're gonna
Thank
let
you.
you don't stop, get it. So I one thing I want to say about you is that I'm not even in your district, but whenever I have a question and I cannot find anyone to answer it, I can so graciously call you and you would answer. So that is
Oh,
the thing that impressed me, is that you don't see a line as
no.
far as, well, you know, I can't do that for you because you can't vote for me anyway. But
Yeah.
so I appreciate that. I appreciate that you lend a hand across all, for all. And so with our last few minutes here, I want
And
you to
just
look
know
into
I'm a helper. I just
your
want to help.
helper.
I'm a helper. I don't know all of these sophisticated titles and all these degrees. I am a helper
A
first
helper.
and foremost. I mean, because people help me. I couldn't be here without the
Yeah,
help of so many people. I mean, I told them, we 20 years removed from WIC and food stamps. We had to go through all that, stand in the line to get our food stamp, go get the WIC coupons for my daughter to eat. And we've been through all of those things. So it's you getting somebody who understands, and my goal is not to leave anybody behind who wants help. You get help. I'm a capacity builder. I build on your assets. I build on your abilities. And so that's the type of person I want to be known for as your CEO. I'm a helper.
so for these last 2 minutes, will you just talk to the people, tell them when they're to vote, and where you've already given them your information as to your website, but let them know when the time is to vote.
The time to vote is the election is May 21st. And of course, 3 weeks prior to that in April will be early voting. So we're voting, and May 21st is the main election, the day of. But early voting will start in April. And I don't have the date off the top of my head, but I know Ms. Eva, you'll get that to them.
I
But
will.
you'll see me out there. We make the path by walking it together. I need us to come together from North DeKalb, South DeKalb, from Linwood to Glenwood, to Doraville to Decatur, Stone Mountain to Stonecrest, from East DeKalb to West DeKalb. We're going to make sure that we leave no one behind as we go forward to make a better, safer, stronger, and unified DeKalb. And just look out for us. Our website, lj4ceo.com. We need your donations. We can't run the campaign without your donations. Any amount is great. $5, $10, $20. Please make a donation so we can get the word out. I can't buy signs. I can't get the message out without your help. And if you want to volunteer, you see that down there, lj4ceo.com, because we're grassroots. We want people who want to be here, who want to put their sweat in, wave on the corners, handing out literature, knock on doors. We need those type of people because that's the type of CEO you're going to get. Thank you.
Thank you again. And thank you for tuning in tonight to Cross Culture 365 Ministries, as well as Community Social Justice Atlanta. Thank you, Commissioner Larry Johnson. We hope and we pray that your campaign is successful, and that the next time we interview you, it would be as the new elected CEO of DeKalb County. Good night, everyone.
Speak it.
Speak it. We're speaking it.
Right.
Good night. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.